Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Finn Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fizz up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Moving the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squash the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Finn Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Finn Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take a redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me.
What up, Finn fans? Welcome to another episode of the Finn Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. Happy Halloween. Hope you all get all the candy you can stand. Never too old to go trick-or-treating. Man, oh man, Thursday night football. The Miami Dolphins fall to the Baltimore Ravens. Listen, it is so frustrating to be a Dolphin fan. So very frustrating to be a Dolphin fan. Good morning. Cliff, what's up? Tua has no tight end, no Tyreek, no O-line, no D, and a pathetic head coach. Young Buck, happy Halloween. That game last night was scary. Fins up no matter what. What up, Young Buck? Aqua, what's up? Damien, what's up? Chef Ju, what's up? Yeah, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, help the channel grow. Got a lot of good things planned for the channel, a lot of giveaways. But man, oh man, the Miami Dolphins last night were an absolute disaster on offense. Mike McDaniel, I'm hearing that Mike McDaniel could be fired as early today, no later than next week, because we got the Buffalo Bills next week, and chances are it's not going to be a pretty sight when we play Buffalo. Josh Allen is our daddy, and well, actually, I would say Lamar Jackson is our daddy. The way Lamar Jackson's performed against the Miami Dolphins in his career is absolutely insane. The way that he performs against the Dolphins is just astronomical. Like, this guy is crazy good when he plays Miami. He destroys us. He destroys us. So I got a couple guys down there that are beat writers. I got a couple guys down there that are beat writers that I speak to on a regular basis that have been on the show before. Stephen Ross left the building last night very upset. But yeah, this Miami Dolphins team, what's sad is that you see the potential for this football team to be good, right? You see the potential because last night, and I tweeted it out last night, and I'm not a big Twitter guy. The first half of this football game, the Miami Dolphins should have been in control of this football game. We should have been winning at halftime. We should have been up. Now, we go down, we kick the field goal. Then Washington fumbles. That was absolutely heartbreaking. You can't fumble at that end of the field. First catch ever results in a fumble inside our own 10-yard line. That was absolutely disastrous. Absolutely disastrous. Just everything that could possibly go wrong for the Dolphins in the first half did. We drive down the field. We're going for it on 4th and 1. Larry Borum, false start. And then to add salt to a wound, we missed the field goal. And then we go driving down the field. Tua makes a great play to Jalen Waddle. They get Gordon on a bullshit ass tripping play. Absolutely ridiculous. Ollie Gordon did not trip that man. It was absolutely a horrendous call. Just self-inflicted wounds by the Miami Dolphins. I mean, obviously the tripping call wasn't the Miami Dolphins' fault, but self-inflicted wounds, the fumbles, the drop passes. Nick Westbrook-Akine can't catch a cold, bro. Nick Westbrook-Akine is trash. Get him out of there. Don't play him another down. This dude is trash. Jalen Waddle had a decent game. Let's go over the stats real quick. But self-inflicted wounds in the first half killed this football team. And then in the second half, they just, this team came alive. The Baltimore Ravens team came alive. And it just seemed like the Miami Dolphins just finally, gave up. They gave up. All right, let's take a look at the stats real quick, and then we'll get more in depth into the conversation. So the Baltimore Ravens beat the Dolphins 28-6. Again, this game should have been much different. Do the Dolphins win this game? If the mistakes don't happen in the first half, I don't know, because Baltimore played a really great game in the second half. But this game shouldn't have been a blowout like it was. Lamar Jackson, another great game against the Miami Dolphins. He destroys Miami every time he plays them. 18-23, completed 78% of his passes for 204 yards, 4 touchdowns, a QBR rating of 152.99. 153 is perfect. Derrick Henry, 19 carries, 119 yards. He got a lot of those yards in garbage time when Baltimore already had the lead in hand. Mark Andrews killed us through the air, had 2 touchdowns. Where's he at? 2 catches, 22 yards, 2 touchdowns. Zay Flowers, 5 catches, 64 yards. Isaiah Likely added 3 catches, 60 yards. And then their third string tight end caught a touchdown also. Miami struggles against tight ends. Tua Tagovailoa, 25 of 40, 62.5, 261 yards, 1 interception. The interception came on a deep pass. The game was already in hand. I think he was just trying something. Malachi Starks made a great pick on the ball. Rushing, Achane had 14 carries, 67 yards. Not a bad game for Achane, but nothing special. He was this offense. Jalen Waddle, 6 catches, 82 yards. Pretty decent game for Jalen Waddle. Taj Washington, terrible game. 1 catch, first career catch. He fumbles. Malik Washington, 3 catches, 48 yards. He had a fumble. Ollie Gordon ended up hurting his ankle in this game. We ran a lot of 2 running back sets. We only had 2 running backs active last night, which made no sense to me. Jalen Wright had a decent game last week. Why make him inactive this week? And how are you only going to have 2 active running backs on the roster? That makes 0 sense to me. Cedric Wilson, 1 catch, his first catch since being back. Tanner Connor had an opportunity to catch, just acted like he had no idea where he was on the field, made no effort to get both feet in. Could have been a better pass by Tua. Yeah, it could have been. But Tanner Connor should have came up with that catch. That was a big miss. Nick Westbrook-Akine, 2 catches, 22 yards. Multiple drops by Nick Westbrook-Akine. Multiple drops. Absolute bum. Absolute bum. So, again, the Miami Dolphins had so many opportunities in the first half of that game. Defense played really well. In the first half of this game, the Dolphins played really, really well. Just self-inflicted wounds. Penalties, missed field goals, fumbles, just absolute nonsense that, you see the potential. You see that this team has got some talent, just can't make the plays when they're needed to be made. And then the second half, Lamar Jackson came to life. And then, Mike McDaniel didn't have the greatest game coaching last night. He had some questionable calls. Last night. But again, this isn't Mike McDaniel's not on the field dropping passes. He's not on the field fumbling balls. He's not on the field throwing behind the receiver. He's not on the field missing field goals. I think Mike McDaniel has a real bright future ahead of him. And it's sad that it's not going to be with the Miami Dolphins. It's sad. I think Mike McDaniel's kind of been, not to say that Mike McDaniel's not at fault at all for the things that have gone wrong with the Miami Dolphins, because he is. He has to take some accountability, and he has been part of the problem. But this guy is a first-time head coach that was brought in and forced to work with Tua Tagovailoa, a quarterback that, even if you love him, you have to admit that he's limited in the things that he can do. You know what I mean? He's limited. I would love to see Mike McDaniel with a quarterback that is able to do all types of things on the field. Bonnie says that 4th and 2, you call a fade for Achane, the shortest guy on the field. Terrible call. Absolutely. That was a horrendous call by Mike McDaniel. Horrendous call. When we were deep in our own red zone in the second half, it was 2nd and 16. He calls a running play. Terrible call. Terrible play call. Now, you guys all know how I feel. Mike McDaniel's going to end up being the scapegoat on this team. He's going to end up being the fall guy. He's the he's the easiest one, especially if they're going to keep Chris Greer here. I could see a weird world where Tua Tagovailoa is still the quarterback, Chris Greer is still the general manager, and the fall guy is Mike McDaniel. But you've seen the potential of this football team, and that's what's frustrating. That's what's frustrating about this team right here is that in the games that we've played this year, as bad as we have played, our record could be completely different. As bad as we have been, we could be. What's our record right now? 2-7. We could be 5-4, 6-3. As bad as we have been. Now I really like how they have been using Ollie Gordon and Devon Achane in the backfield together. I do think Ollie Gordon should have got some more carries before the injury. But I love what they've been doing with the two backs in the backfield. I love what they've been doing with having Brunskill in as a sixth offensive lineman. I love that. Jalen Phillips missed another opportunity as a sack last night. He got his hands on Lamar, just could not bring him down. That's another missed opportunity. But I can't be mad at this Dolphins defense. Yeah, did they end up giving up quite a few points in the second half? Did Lamar Jackson tear them apart in the second half? Yeah. But the Miami Dolphins defense gave us a chance to win this football game early on. That missed sack did allow the Ravens to score. You know, we had some missed opportunities. We had so many missed opportunities. Self-inflicted wounds last night. And we are it is what it is. We are who we are. You know what I mean? This team is not a very good team. But the potential's there. Ken had the refereeing was bad last night. I'm not going to lie. You know, that Ollie Gordon play, that was a huge play in this football game. That was a huge play. Because we had just missed the field goal. You're kind of feeling down on yourselves. And here comes Tua. He throws the deep pass. He hits Waddle deep. And here they throw a flag on Gordon for tripping. Absolutely horrendous call. And shame on that coach for reaming Ollie Gordon out when he didn't even know the situation. He just assumed that Ollie Gordon did something wrong. Ollie Gordon wasn't feeling it, though. He was giving it right back. What up, JD? But I'm going to open it up to you guys. I want to hear from you. Just make sure you don't have any background noise if you call in. And I want to hear your thoughts on last night's game and who you think, who needs to go? What's the answer for this football team? I'm telling you, chances are it's probably going to be Mike McDaniel is going to be the first one to drop. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I think that's the wrong move. I'm not saying Mike McDaniel shouldn't be replaced at some point, but I don't think he is the major problem here. Last night was not a Mike McDaniel loss. I'm not putting that loss on Mike McDaniel. It was an execution loss. It was the players on the field that lost that game last night. in my opinion, it was strictly the players on the field not executing to the way they need to. This wasn't a Mike McDaniel loss. Did Mike McDaniel have some mess ups? Yeah. Did he coach his greatest game? No. But this wasn't a Mike McDaniel loss, and he shouldn't have to take the blame for it. Again, just if you're going to call in, say your piece. Make sure you don't have any background noise. Again, I want your thoughts on last night's game and what the first move in fixing things should be for this Miami Dolphins team. Again, Stephen Ross, reports are that he left the game very angry, distraught. Glenn, what's up, brother?
Man, well, problem is you leave the team the way it is. You leave the coaching. There's no reason to change anything. Not until the end of the season. Why? I mean,
all right. So you say leave things the same till the end of the season. Do you?
Yeah.
What's the move at the end of the season then?
What? What's
What
the
do you
move?
do?
Then you look at everything. Yeah. More likely, you're stuck with Tua next year too. I mean, I know Denver did it, but Denver had the money to do it. Miami don't have the money to let him go or to let him go. We would go so far in the cap hole to let Tua go, it would be crazy.
Did you see the report about the Raiders?
What report?
There was a report that the Raiders would be interested in trading for Tua if Miami gave up Tua, 2 second-round draft picks, trade that to the Raiders for a 5th-round draft pick, and the Raiders would eat up all that salary cap because they got the cap room to eat it up. So we'd have to give up Tua and 2 second-round picks for a 5th.
You can't eat up guarantee money that's already been paid. They don't eat up that money that's already been paid. Yes, they'll eat up the future money, but they can't. They ain't going to eat up the money that's already been paid to Tua. The signing bonuses and guarantee that's already been paid? No.
And that's money that goes against the salary cap?
Yeah, that's a lot of why. But your signing bonuses and stuff go against the salary cap. Yes. Now those are spread out for 5 years, or how many the contract is, and then the guaranteed money, like they paid them $15 million or something like that this year. Yeah, that's all and stuff like that. The guarantee money, So yeah, they'll get them. The reason they'll get them is because now they can do next year and the year after and stuff like that, and make up stuff like that next and stuff and take some of this money, but it's still yeah, I think the Raiders would probably be a good fit for Tua.
Yeah.
That would be probably a best fit because of the coach.
I mean, 2 second-round picks would suck, but I mean, you're able to get your rebuild going quicker. You know what I mean? Without that.
Technically, I would take a a second-round pick, and that's it. One or second round, and be happy. It's still
we got to give up 2 second rounds. We got to give Tua and 2 second rounds for a 5th.
Oh yeah, can't now.
So they We got to give them that compensation for them taking on Tua's contract.
No way. I don't know. Get away from that contract and can rebuild. Might be worth it. But do you really want this GM to make that decision, or do you want the next GM to?
Well, that's my thing, is that I think first and foremost, Chris Greer is the first domino that needs the drop. If you're not replacing Chris Greer, it doesn't matter what else you do.
No,
that's just my opinion.
No. Chris Greer, I believe this is Chris Greer's last year. You cannot bring. They did it again. They did this team a year. They kept the personnel a year longer than they should have. Especially the GM. Now, do I still think he made some good picks this year? Yeah, I still like the first round, second round picks, and a couple of the fifth round picks, and I do believe they will eventually be good starters. But for all the mess ups that he did in the past, you just can't build from that. I mean, one or two picks in the draft is nothing like Chop Robinson should be further than what he is. I don't even know Chop Robinson played last night.
He did, because he got a concussion.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did get a concussion. Yeah, that's right. He did. And the funny thing about it is we're the ones last night on that game last night. We should have been up 21 to like 7 at halftime. That's how much we dominated them.
I agree 100%.
We dominated.
We looked really good in the first half.
And actually, everybody don't even talk about that defense, because that defense really only gave up 14 points. The offense fumbled twice. And actually, you know what's funny? Tua's interception, when he had that interception, I thought that was the best pass of the day.
Yeah, he had some zip on that pass. And it was a great catch by Malachi Starks.
Yeah, but not only that, but the receiver was so short he can't protect Tua at all.
Yeah, that was the wrong receiver that tried that. I mean, unless he had them beat down, that you don't try that. You don't put a jump ball up there.
But at that time of game, you had to take a chance. There was nothing left in the game but to take a chance like that.
Yeah.
So for Tua throwing that interception, I look at that and say, man, he's just trying to make something happen, and it didn't. Oh, well.
Yeah.
But those turnovers, God.
Yeah, absolutely unacceptable.
That's where I get on McDaniels. This team is not disciplined enough. You having people doing pre-snap penalties and stuff, and they shouldn't. And that's the one thing you cannot have is pre-snap penalties.
Nick, if you take away them 2 fumbles, the Miami Dolphins are winning this game at halftime. I mean, you can dominate a half and lose a football game. You can dominate a half and
that one. But the problem is I don't know what they. How can you not? You got, what was it, 4 times in the first half, or 5 times in the first half? You got in their 35-yard line, maybe 4 times, and you came away with 3 points.
Yep.
I mean, come on, that's something to do with play calling with that falls on McDaniel's and stuff. Even though when a team, I don't know. I don't even know. Sometimes I look at the team and I say, no, they did not quit on McDaniel's. But then I seen what happened last night, and that looks like an offensive side that the team quit
See,
on
I don't blame
McDaniel's.
I don't blame McDaniel's for our struggles last night in the red zone. Yeah, the one play call where he signed HN on the route, that was a terrible play call.
No,
But as far as
that route.
the false start,
running that route.
he did, but it was still a bad play call. That's not the play you run there.
If you don't run the route, you can't even complete the pass
Yeah,
at all.
it was still the wrong call. But you can't blame him for that. You can't blame him for the false start. You can't blame him for Malik Washington's fumble. You can't blame him for the missed field goal. I mean, that's not. You know what I mean?
No.
This is they beat us 20. What was it? 28-6. I mean,
28-6.
We had 4 or 5 times we're in the red zone and come away with no points. That's, you know what I mean? It's a completely different game. Completely different if we just execute.
Yeah, we should have been up on that game. That's what I said. Here's what I said after the halftime. I said, Miami's going to lose this game because they should have been up on this team so much that you took Derrick Henry out the ball game the second half.
Well, Dean's got a good point. We were up 17-3 on them Panthers, and they came back and got us. So I mean, Lamar Jackson played good enough that, you know, but we were moving the ball up and down the field on the Ravens last night. We just could not finish off drives. We just killed ourselves.
But here's the difference from the why we got the 17-3 lead on Panthers was because of turnovers. Panthers had turnovers. We were just dominating Baltimore from the beginning of the game.
Yeah, we were definitely moving the ball up and down the field on the Ravens last night. We had I mean, Tua didn't have his best game. He threw behind the receiver a couple times. You can say whether it was his fault or the receiver's fault, because I did see Tua say something to the receivers a couple times on those misplays, like they had made a mistake or they didn't run the route deep enough, or that, you know what I mean. But we definitely had our opportunities to win this football game last night, and it just came down to execution. And I think that it's going to end up costing Mcdaniel his job.
You know what don't make me mad? I have a feeling next week they don't beat Buffalo.
You think we will beat Buffalo?
Yeah. Because Buffalo, well, it all depends if Miami turns the ball over or not.
Well, yeah,
Miami loses when they turn the ball over.
Yeah, I mean, most teams aren't very successful when they turn the ball over.
Oh, I know. But it's like, if we don't turn this ball over, Miami will beat Buffalo. Buffalo plays right into what Miami likes to defend. Buffalo, you don't have to really worry about the deep pass. You only have to worry about the run and the short passes. And I like it. I like it. I mean, you like how the rookies are coming along or no?
I mean, I think they've greatly improved the last few weeks. I do. I mean, there was a couple plays that Jonah, I question, like, who the hell are you blocking last night? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
but you know that's just it. You have rookies that will make those mistakes. I believe Jonah and Grant and some other players will act.
but yeah, for the most part, Ollie Gordon, Dante Trader, Jonah and Kenneth Grant, I think are going to be fine. Jordan Phillips, even. I'd like to see Jason Marshall get back and get some more reps. But yeah, for the most part, I think Chris Greer did a decent job at this draft. And I'm not saying that Chris Greer hasn't done positive things for the Miami Dolphins, because he absolutely has. It's just his ignoring the offensive line for so many years, his ignoring the defensive backfield this year. And then you have the massive misses in the draft. You've had massive misses. And you got to count Tua as one of them. You drafted a quarterback that had a career-threatening injury that wasn't able to come in and work out that year. You had he's undersized. He had limited arm strength, and you still draft him at number 5. I feel, you can love Tua, you can hate Tua, but you got to admit that wasn't the right draft pick. It didn't make sense. It wasn't the smart move. Jalen Phillips had an injury history. Austin Jackson was coming back from bone marrow surgery where he lost a bunch of weight, and we took him in the first round. Charles Harris instead of TJ Watt. I mean, countless moves that Chris Greer has just dropped the ball for this football team. And
You know
he's
what?
the real issue in my book.
You know what? I don't blame him for any of the draft picks. You know that? I don't blame him for any of the draft picks. You take a chance. Where I blame him is signing all these big contract players, and they failed. I mean
which
you gave up
one's
Chubb.
true? Which one's true? He's failed though. I mean, Bradley Chubb hasn't.
Okay.
He hasn't lived up to what we gave up for him, but he hasn't been bad.
You gave up
I
a
mean, he had the
number one draft
injury.
choice. You gave up a number 1 pick for Chubb.
Yeah.
You gave up 5 picks for Tyreek.
Tyreek was worth it to me.
What?
Tyreek was worth it to me.
You think Tyreek's earned the first 2?
I do. I think Tyreek is a top 5 receiver for this franchise and overall in the franchise history. And he played here 3-4 years. What Tyreek did for this offense, come on. I mean,
I don't know if you see. You say that right. But hey, you gave up Chase to get Tyreek.
you gave up what?
You could have had Chase.
No. We already missed out on Chase. That's why we had to go get Tyreek. If Chris Greer would have drafted Chase the year before, we wouldn't have had to trade for Tyreek. Chase was in the Waddle draft. We already had Waddle when we traded for Tyreek.
But I think you could have. I think with what you gave up. Look, our draft picks, right? If you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, our draft picks made their defense what we gave up. And
All right,
they're
Glenn,
top 5 in defense.
I got to
Okay.
hit on a couple more topics. I appreciate you calling in, brother.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Anybody else want to give their take on last night's game? Nick, Buffalo lost to Atlanta, actually, right? Troy, you're a Ravens fan, you said? Troy, since you're a Ravens fan, did you feel like we had the edge in the first half? We just kept shooting ourselves in the foot? Because I felt like we had you guys in the first half. Miller, what's up?
What's up, big dog?
What's going on?
Man, I know how to fix it all. And the purest answer is we got to sign Gruden this offseason.
Again, you can have whatever coach you want, but if Chris Greer is the one that's filling the roster, I don't know how that's helping.
Yeah, but he won't be. You know, we both know Chris Greer's time is numbered.
Well, I would like to hope so, but again, if you're firing Mike McDaniel before you're firing Chris Greer, I can't. I don't have faith in this organization if they skip that way.
Yeah, I don't either, man. But you got to have some faith because Ross wants to win. He wants to win before he dies, and he ain't getting any younger.
Listen, if he wanted to win, he would have fired Chris Greer last year.
That's a delicate situation though because of the whole lawsuits and stuff that can come out. I truly believe that Greer has Washington Commanders level dirt, like Dan Snyder level dirt on Ross.
So what makes you think he's going to move on from him then?
Because I mean the media won't let it go till it happens, man. And if he's got the dirt that you think he does, there's an opportunity that the NFL forces Stephen Ross out. So he ain't going to let that media get in his ear too much. The media's already been in his ear. They're flying planes over the stadium. He knows what's going on. He sees what they're putting out on the field. You know what I mean? And it's sad. If it comes to that,
it's
then
sad.
it's going to come to an investigation, just like it did with Snyder. I think he'll choose his successor, like he has already, and make his moves. That'll be the defining characteristic. Because if Ross moves on in the next 2 years and passes it on to his sister, his daughter, inheritance-wise, it's quite possible that nothing was going to change without it coming to light.
I mean, I don't want to get too much into that anyway. I want to talk about last night's game. What did you think about last night's game? Because, I mean, that's a topic that we've discussed numerous times. That's a topic that we'll continue to discuss. Do you think Mike McDaniel is to blame for last night's loss? And what caused last night's loss?
So, me personally, I think injuries played a big factor in last night. I think Melvin Gordon going down was the defining characteristic. I'm not saying he was having the yards or impacting the game in such a way, but the threat of him out there, and even having the two running back formation, you just assume like there would even be, I don't know, a threat. But once Gordon was gone and the refs were called on that Waddle situation, and
that happened before that. I feel like by the time Gordon went down, we had already cost ourselves. We probably had already cost ourselves the game by the time Gordon went down, because you already had the Washington fumble inside the 10 that led to a touchdown. You already had the missed field goal after the false start on 4th and 1, so you already gave up points there. And then you had the Gordon penalty that was bullshit, but they called a penalty. So right. I think when Gordon went down, we had already shot ourselves in the foot. So,
well, I mean, what I saw last night was not what I saw all this season, and I'm honestly kind of glad. I mean, we struggle at moving the ball, but once we get in the red zone, it's a touchdown. We moved the ball all night last night, at least in the first half, and then never scored in the red zone. But at least that shows
we had four or five opportunities. We were down there and didn't come away with anything. I mean, the one I'll put on McDaniel. Terrible play call, 4th down. You throw the fade the HN. That was terrible.
See,
terrible.
I hear you don't
run a play like that by 4th and 1.
Who do you trust to catch the ball on this offense?
Listen, I'm not saying you don't go to him. I'm saying that you don't throw a fade on 4th and 1 in the back of the end zone to a 5'8" guy.
I mean,
That's
he's
got
been high
a
pointing all
4'8",
season.
a
He's
6'4"
been high
guy on
pointing
him
fades all season.
against a
already caught 2 for a
6'4"
touchdown.
all-pro safety.
I trust
That was
dude.
bro. You can't say that was a good play call.
I'm not saying it wasn't a great play call, but Nick Westbrook, our tall wide receiver, is inept. He cannot catch a football to save his life.
I'm not saying you don't throw it to H. I'm saying you don't send him on a fade route.
The man's been catching fades all season now.
Bro, not on 4th and 1. You don't run that play. That's a terrible play call.
But how many times have you seen Achan high point a ball in the end zone with someone
not
on him?
against not against possibly the best safety in the league who is 6'4"?
Oh my, he is not the best safety in the league. But yeah, he's good. He's not the best
safety. He's an all-pro safety. That was you can't tell me that wasn't a terrible play call.
Given what
Absolutely
I've seen
horrendous.
this season, I'm okay with that play call versus what it could have been, though.
Not me.
You feel that?
You run a quick slant. You run you run so many screens. You're better off running a screen in that. You run an end around. You run a reverse. You run anything. You run straight up the middle. You run anything besides a fade route to a 5'8" running back.
Well, I mean, I don't understand why Alec Ingold wasn't getting any touches. The man's a boulder.
I mean, I think Ollie Gordon should have got more carries last night, to be honest.
Ollie Gordon, did you see him on the sideline yelling at Studsville?
Well, because Studsville was flipping out on him about the penalty.
Yeah, well, I was wondering, I mean, with everything that's going on in the coaching situation and how they're having player-only meetings and whatnot, do you think that maybe there's, like, serious rift there?
I mean, I don't know. I think he was giving him shit, and Gordon was like, I didn't do nothing. Like, he was screaming at Gordon, and Gordon didn't do nothing.
I mean, I'm with Gordon. He didn't do nothing, but I mean,
iDog is right there. He said, "Why not throw it to the tight end? Why didn't you give it to Dulich on that 4th and 1?"
Hey, fellas.
Because it's Achan, bro.
What's up, Anthony? What do you think about last night's game?
Not shocking. Not shocking to me because I warned people that this team is way too inconsistent in the last 2 games.
I gotta head out, Big C. I love you, bro.
Thanks, Miller.
Yeah, to me, this result didn't shock me because the last 2 games we've been inconsistent. We got blown out. We didn't know what team was going to show up. Was it going to be the team again? It seemed like it was the team that showed up and laid down against the Browns and not the team that blew out the Falcons. So this result, honestly, to me, didn't shock me because the team has been inconsistent the last 2 games. Like, the play calling, I agree with you, was horrendous by McDaniel and stuff like that.
I don't think the overall play calling, I think that play call was terrible. There was a couple bad play calls. That play call was terrible when we were deep in our own territory in the second half. The 2nd and 16, he ran the ball. That was a terrible play call. There was a couple, but I don't think that Mike McDaniel had a horrible game overall.
Yeah,
as far as
and I
play
agree
calling
with
goes.
I think I agree with you that fade to A-Chain was a mistake. Like, maybe throw not a fade, but a wheel route or something like
it's 4th and 1. The farther the throw is downfield, the higher chance it's not going to be completed. You need 1 yard. You throw a 3-yard pass.
No,
you know what I mean?
What I'm saying, replace that with a swing pass, like where he can go use the receivers as blocking and stuff like that.
You throw it. You don't throw the ball over 5 yards on that play, in my opinion. 4th and 1, you need 1 yard
or run the ball at least.
Yeah, max you get 5 yards. Max, you throw that football 5 yards.
And this is what I can criticize McDaniel too is he knows that like passing the ball has a lower chance of succeeding instead of running the ball. To be honest, like you have a higher chance of getting the first down running the ball than you do passing the ball because you're dealing with DBs and stuff like that.
Yeah, but when your offensive line is suspect as ours is, I mean, running the ball is not as clear cut. But they didn't give Ollie Gordon enough carries last night. He was in the game quite a bit in 2 running back sets, but it was always Achane getting the ball, and Gordon. What he had 2-3 rushes at max. I mean, he should have had more. He should have had more carries in the first half.
Was he dealing with an injury in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, he hurt his ankle. They took him in the tent. They took him in the back.
Was it?
He got rolled up on by Achane or Waddle, one of the two.
Yeah, no, and this is where the obsession with the screen passes would have benefited McDaniel. That screen passes are good for a short distance, not these. I agree with you. Like throwing. And did Tua overthrow him or underthrow him? That
on what play?
On that fade route you're talking about.
Well, Achane didn't run the route completely, but I don't know. It was a terrible play. Tua missed a couple passes last night, but I did see Tua on one of the passes. He went and talked to Achane, and he acted like it was Achane's fault from his body language. Another one, the Waddle, he went to Waddle, and it kind of looked like it was Waddle's fault. But Tua was off on 3 or 4 passes last night that he typically completes. So I mean, Tua didn't have his greatest game. Yeah, he had the one interception where he threw it deep down the field and Malachi Starks intercepted it. No, it wasn't double coverage. It was just Malachi Starks was deep and he was throwing it to Taj Washington, and Malik Starks just went up and got it. The game was already decided by that point. He was trying to make something happen.
So you think McDaniel's gone?
Yeah, I talked to a couple of the guys down there. From what I'm hearing, that there's a good chance that if he's not gone this week, that an embarrassing loss to the Buffalo Bills, it's a wrap.
Yeah, no.
But it could happen today. It could happen today.
No, for me, I don't.
Stephen Ross was definitely unhappy.
Yeah, I don't care that Stephen Ross is unhappy. I don't trust him. He's gonna keep him till the end of the season. Like, he's not gonna fire either Greer or friggin' McDaniel. He's gonna keep him till the end of the season, then fire them. Like, that's how incompetent he is as an owner. Football-wise.
I see. Mike McDaniel's not. If you got to keep Tua next year, who's better to work with Tua than Mike McDaniel? First off, Tua's not the future of this team, right? Everybody knows it. Whether you love Tua or you hate Tua, Tua's not the future. But he may be the quarterback of this team next year at the very least.
Like a bridge.
Who else you going to bring in besides Mike McDaniel to work with Tua? No, you're not going to get no good coach to come in here and tell them that your quarterback's got to be Tua Tagovailoa.
And this is an honest question, Big C. That I've been thinking about this. I've still said this multiple times. I feel that the owner forced Tua on McDaniel. I don't think McDaniel really, like, half of the stuff he said when he got hired, I think was more the owner saying that, not him. I don't think McDaniel really believed into it. I think it was just like he was forced to.
See, I don't necessarily see it that way. I see Mike McDaniel didn't hire. He didn't interview for any other job. Listen, the guy was only the run games coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. He wasn't a hot name going around. So this was Mike McDaniel's one chance to get a coaching job. So of course he's going to say and do everything he can to get an opportunity to be a head coach. It's his lifelong dream. You know, this guy's wanted to be a coach since he was a kid. His stepdad was a coach for the Denver Broncos. He's always wanted to be a coach. So he got an opportunity. He said, listen, I can make things happen with this guy. And I think he did believe in Tua. I think he believed in him. But does Mike McDaniel got a lot of potential that we may have not seen because Tua's limited? Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I would love to see Tua with a quarterback that can do. Could you imagine Mike McDaniel with a quarterback like Lamar Jackson? You know what I mean?
No, I've been saying this. Like this, even the two guys who created this offense and the Shanahans say that a semi-mobile quarterback actually opens up the playbook. Guys like Brock Purdy and stuff like that limit this offense because you can't do everything you want. Physical limitations hurt this offense. Like so I think if McDaniel gets to choose his quarterback, I think like if he stays here but we fire Greer and they bring in a new GM, I can see them drafting like a guy like Taylor, like a mobile quarterback like a Taylor Green or something like that, or Lenore Sellers and stuff like that. Like
I don't think they should reach. I don't think they should reach for a quarterback. I don't think they should do that. You don't take a quarterback, just take quarterback. There's too many instances of players like Zach Wilson and players like that being drafted just because players. Yeah, you just, I need a quarterback. I got to go get one. You know what I mean? I don't think they should do that.
Yeah, there's only two quarterbacks legitimately worth the top 5 pick. A Ty Simpson, who's very polished, and Fernando Mendoza, to be honest.
In my opinion, what should really happen is you fire Chris Greer, you find a general manager. If Tua's going to be the quarterback here next year because of his contract and strictly because of his contract, you keep Mike McDaniel. You go through the process. You go and you draft a quarterback or best player available in a position of need, whether it's offensive line, another defensive tackle, corner, whatever. You let this new general manager. You let this new general manager draft. Maybe you let this new general manager draft, start building the team. You let him evaluate Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa because Tua, you're stuck on that contract. And then the next year, you have maybe a top pick because Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa didn't work out, and you go get yourself a quarterback. You move on from Tua. You move on from Mike McDaniel. You know what I mean? So I think
so you don't want to force the quarterback because we're desperate.
No, you don't force a quarterback because then you get stuck with a quarterback that shouldn't have went in the, you know what I mean?
In the first round. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, but we've been dealing with this issue at quarterback for almost 30 years since Marino retired. So
you're right.
So, and we draft the wrong quarterback every freaking year or the wrong position. Like, I've said this, I understood the reason why they drafted Jake Long, but they should have drafted Matt Ryan that year. They should have drafted Matt. Or you disagree with me a little bit. It would have been the same. Matt Ryan.
No, you go get the quarterback if they're there. Matt Ryan was the top quarterback in that draft.
No, but people actually said it would have made sense because you would have had Matt Ryan getting beat up without an offensive line like you see with Tua now. So it would have.
And maybe that's true. But what did Jake Long play here 5 years? He was great while he was here, but then he got hurt, and he wasn't the same.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for having me on, bro. Have a good night.
No problem. Have a good one. Yeah, I mean, you can debate whether you should address the offensive line first or the quarterback. I think hopefully Daniels can come back healthy. Austin Jackson needs to go, I think, but hopefully you got Jonah, you got Paul, you got Brewer, so you got the start of a decent offensive line. I think Kenneth Grant and Jordan Phillips are going to progress and become better. You got Dante Trader. We need to work on our corners. We got Jordan Brooks is a fantastic middle linebacker. I think Willie Gay should get some more playing time, but we have pieces on this football team. You got Waddle, you got H.N., Ollie Gordon is a nice piece. Obviously, with Tyreek, we're probably moving on from Tyreek. We probably need another valuable wide receiver. A lot of people love Malik Washington. Malik Washington's an all right player. I don't know if he's ever going to be that top slot receiver that we need. But yeah, I think Chris Greer needs to go. This team, again, last night was not a Mike McDaniel. It wasn't Mike McDaniel's loss. It was an execution. It was an execution loss. I mean, hell, you can rip the Band-Aid off, but you're still not going to be able to. You can cut Tua and take that big ass cap hit, $99 million cap hit. Right, hell, you can do that. You can fire the coach. You can fire the general manager and start from scratch, but you're going to be so. I mean, you're going to have a horrible year next year anyway. Yeah, we moved the ball great in the first half yesterday. We were definitely moving the ball. Like I said, we got down to the red zone 4 or 5 times, and what did we walk away with? 3 points? And even, I think Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa, I think with a competent GM that builds a football team the correct way, doesn't ignore the offensive line, doesn't ignore the secondary, Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa can still win you a bunch of games. I mean, I think we're forgetting that these two can win you a bunch of games if you give them the right pieces. Now, is Tua the answer for the future? No, because he's injury prone. And to be honest, he fails in the big moments. But let's not act like we couldn't make the playoffs with Tua and Mike McDaniel. They've done it before. I don't have it all. I don't have all the answers. I just think the Miami Dolphins are going to make a mistake. They're going to fire Mike McDaniel first, and that's not the route to fix things. If one person needs to go, it's Chris Greer. That's how I feel. If you feel different, I understand. I get it. Everybody has an opinion, and I think we're all right to a point. If you think that, you just move on from Tua and everything will be okay, maybe it will be. Maybe it could be. If you think that if we just get a new head coach, maybe things will work out. Maybe it will. Maybe it could. But I think, to me, I think Chris Greer's constant ignoring of crucial areas. We went into this year with players that are 3rd, 4th, 5th string players starting in our secondary. You were so bougie, you let Calais Campbell leave the building and not re-sign him because you wanted to lowball him. And I know you had high hopes for Kenneth Grant, and maybe he hasn't lived up to the hype that you thought he would. Maybe you thought Kenneth Grant would come in and play phenomenal right away. That hasn't been the case. But you had Calais Campbell here that you could have re-signed. And this defense wouldn't have been as bad as what they have been. You go and you bring Liam Eichenberg back. You could have re-signed Isaiah Wynn. You could have added another piece in free agency, but no, you go and you pay $6 million guaranteed the Zach Wilson. Please make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Help the channel grow. I'm pretty sure I'm going to give out this Dan Marino jersey, autographed, authentic sized, all that when we get to 1,000 subs. I may give out $1,000 too. We've done that on this channel before. Well, I think I gave out $500 twice. So help the channel grow. I appreciate you all. I love y'all. Man, we got a lot of questions to answer. Again, I think Tua could be fired or Mike McDaniel could be fired today. And if not today, if they get embarrassed by the Buffalo Bills, it's probably a sure thing next week. But again, I don't know what that does for you if you're going to keep Chris Greer in the building. We're talking about trading away Bradley Chubb and Jalen Waddle for future assets. But who are you going to allow to do that? Chris Greer? And if you allow Chris Greer to make those trades, I have to question whether we're going to move on from him. Because if I'm Chris Greer and you're telling me to trade away some of our best players, I'm going to say, so what's that mean for me, Stephen Ross? What's that mean for me? Because you said the status quo is not good enough. So am I going to trade away our best players and it gives us no opportunity to win games this year and you're going to fire me for it? So if Chris Greer goes out and trades Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, it really makes me believe that Chris Greer's safe for another year. Bottom line. Who would you replace Mike with? Oh man, it's tough to say. It's tough to say. I don't got the correct answer for that. I don't know the right answer. I don't know the right answer. You know, I do got the right answer, but there's no chance we'll ever get him. Andy Reid. Andy Reid, that's who I want. I want Andy Reid. I want Andy Reid. I wanted Jim Harbaugh. Andy Reid and Jim Harbaugh. But obviously neither one of those are options. Greer was at college games scouting players, including some of the big name quarterbacks. He isn't going anywhere. Well, I definitely heard that. I definitely did hear that. He was at the Oklahoma what was it? Oklahoma. Was it Oklahoma, Indiana? Was it Mendoza and what's his face? Illumination said, I want John Harbaugh, but who knows his future with the Ravens. Troy Spring says, no, that's our coach. No. Eric, what's up? What's up? Good morning, Big C. Disgusting and disappointing last night. Eric, you're telling the truth, brother. You're telling the truth. We shot ourselves in the foot. We beat ourselves in the first half. And then the second half, it's like we lost all hope. We didn't believe in ourselves in the second half. And we allowed Lamar Jackson to have a typical Lamar Jackson game against the Miami Dolphins. Lamar Jackson has been so great against the Miami Dolphins. I want to say his quarterback rating is over 143 and over 5 career games against the Miami Dolphins. That's crazy. That's crazy good. The Miami Dolphins should have signed Lamar Jackson when he was a free agent. You should have gave him that fully guaranteed deal. Y'all better go get Rex Ryan. Troy, he's a New York Jets lover. He still loves the New York Jets. Still talks about them like they're an ex-girlfriend. All right, folks. Keep a watch on the ticker. Like I said, it could happen today. But if not today, there's a very good chance next week when we play the Buffalo Bills. Oh. Again, I don't think this loss was a Mike McDaniel loss. It was strictly an execution. Failure to execute when we had opportunities. Can we cut to it yet? Not yet. I mean, you can, CC. You can cut them, but it's gonna cripple us. Whoever our next coach is, obviously, you got to support whoever the coach is. Don't we have a bye week coming up? I think after Washington, Eric. So 2 more weeks. Week 11, I think it is. Bonnie says maybe Russ knows more about football than we think. I don't know. Bro, imagine Lamar and A-Chain in the same backfield with Hill and Waddle. That's crazy, unstoppable speed. I agree, Troy. I agree. What could have been? All right, I appreciate you all. I love you all. Keep an eye on that ticker. Make sure you subscribe, please like the videos. Please, please, please. Only like them if you do like the channel. And I will see y'all later. Until next time, it's Fins Up. Peace. Jersey Dolphin, what up, baby?
Yo. Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Mobino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squash the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. The fin smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.